Welcome to the Marketing Intern Spotlight. A marketing intern is a listener who's spreading our message authentically. Hear their story, their passion, and their journey. Enjoy. All right, so I haven't listened to your podcast yet, but I need to.
Oh, the radio episodes.
Yeah, how are those going?
They're very amateur right now. We're like on the 8th, going to be releasing the 8th episode on like Sunday before the Game of Thrones.
There you go.
Game of Thrones is a huge topic on the radio episodes for Please Shut Up. Just like we chop it up with Game of Thrones. We can do it for hours.
Oh, yeah, easily.
We try to like limit it to like 30 minutes, like a segment. But yeah, we talk a lot of Game of Thrones, just like whatever we're like passionate about, like sports, media stuff, like film, television, music, hip hop topics, even like cultural topics. Like AC is on there a lot, and he was talking about like psilocybin and how it can help mental health. And we were talking with my buddy Frankie about that, and that's becoming like a thing now. Like NYU and Johns Hopkins are like literally talking about how like magic shrooms can help mental health. And I was like,
oh yeah,
this was like a new topic to me, but what we're talking about on the podcast is like, this is like a cultural thing, and the conversation is going to be
legalize shrooms is on the bill in Denver for this upcoming year. Yep,
it's crazy.
It's gonna be nuts. If you listen to Rogan with like Michael Pollan,
Hamilton Michael
Morris,
Pollan, How to Change Your Mind,
How to Change Your Mind. I bought that book for my sister for Christmas this year. I bought books for my whole family. I bought that concussion book from Merrill Hodge for my dad because dude's got fucking concussions. And then my sister, I bought the How to Change Your Mind because she's a psychology major and like wants to go into psychedelic psychology and like help people out. Yeah. And dude, that book is insane.
It looks. I just flipped through real quick and I was reading a page and he was like describing some experience that he had, and I was like, whoa, this is next level stuff. But if it can be beneficial to like people with mental health and stuff like that, then absolutely it's something that, you know, the government should look into regulating and, you know, just like mandating.
Do you know kind of the history behind like psychedelics at all?
Not really.
So in the like 1960s, they used it a little bit, and it as like PTSD kind of help aid, and they were worried about, that was when like weed was starting to come up as well, and they used, or Nixon or some administration like made all those drugs Schedule I because it was totally destroying the pharmaceutical industry.
Right. So
they started like, I don't think they started the DARE program, but they started a program that made weed the gateway drug to like psychedelic type drugs. So it pretty much put all of these drugs off the map, made them all illegal. And then it wasn't really until about 10, 15 years ago when these Michael Pollans and these chemists started doing more research and finding and really recognizing this all happening. Dennis McKenna and his brother Terrence McKenna are like not the founding fathers, but those kind of characters.
They're the
pillars
right.
of this whole movement.
Yeah.
And Dennis lives in St. Paul.
He lives in Minnesota?
Yeah, he's like, he's good friends with...
He studied all the psychedelic drugs at Hamlin.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And so they have this... So Stationary Astronaut, like him and Dennis are really good friends, and they go down to Costa Rica and other places in South America.
Peru.
In Peru.
Yeah, Peru.
And they take the ayahuasca brew together, and they...
See, that stuff is... crazy to me, like
crazy.
It's insane.
I like the experience, like people, like the way they describe it, if they can in words, because like they can barely use words to describe their experiences, but like I think it's just like next level type of journeys that they go on, right?
What they talk about when they're like deep in it or diving deep into like the ego. That's what blows my mind the most, is like the release of ego and the release of like judgment and having like those preconceived just perspectives, and you like the ayahuasca or whatever, the whole experience, like just, and like you have like an out of body experience that removes that ego, that judgment, that guilt, that shame away from you, and you just see life and you see the other person across from you as just like in the now. And I was like, yeah, I want that, but like ayahuasca, I don't know if that's like how I'm gonna achieve it.
Exactly. It's like, do I want to do something like ayahuasca? And they were saying like after like they, you know, come out of their journey or their experience, like they're just so much more humble, and like every single time they see life in like a different light, different perspective, like it's just like do you have to do ayahuasca?
Do you have to?
You definitely don't.
Challenges your curiosity, especially mine. I definitely want to start with like maybe a microdose or something, just to see how it all kind of works because of the curiosity again.
Right.
But yeah, dude, ayahuasca is like a whole nother.
Yeah, we were talking about the microdosing. I think in Silicon Valley they were microdosing like a little bit back in like the 2000s, back in like when like Apple and stuff was getting started and all those startup companies in Silicon Valley, like the boom, and they were microdosing a little bit before they go to work, you know, and it kind of like stimulated like the engineers and analysts' mind when they're working on their codes and algorithms. And so like that was another like thing I didn't know. I was like, microdosing, like you want to explain microdosing? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, it's so interesting. It's so interesting. I think it's gonna be cool to see like how that, you know, shapes like our culture in the future, you know, moving into the 2020s. I think the 2020s are gonna be nuts.
It is. There's going to be some changes. Life's going to be different, and we're going to be growing like right in the thick of it. That's when we're going to be evolving as just humans. Our brain's fully developed at 23, so now we're going.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's 23 is when it's like been fully developed. At that
All right,
point.
here we go, fellas.
That's what'd you learn today. But Jesse, speaking of humility, you've been one of the most humble guys the past 4 years when we've been able to experience battling. So? Oh yeah, battling on the gridiron, man, and it's been awesome to be a part of that and to be a part of just that community. And now we're staying together through that and just growing.
Yeah. It's awesome.
And it's awesome to have you here on the Back Pocket podcast.
It's awesome to be here, man.
Yes.
It's awesome to be here. I was just telling Deck, I wanted to come on the Back Pocket since like episode 2 when Brian came on. When Brian, he's like, yeah, Brian, I remember like the next day I saw Brian, I was like, yeah, what did you do last night? He's like, oh, I was at Declan's and Andrews for the Back Pocket. I was like, the Back Pocket? You mean like the podcast that they just started? He's like, yeah. I was like, I want to get on that. Like, tell him to get me on there, right? And then like the first one was like with Mal Jensvold, right?
Yep.
And like you guys, it was like the Valentine's Day thing, and like you guys were just chopping it up, just having fun. But then like it's evolved into this like, you know, networking, you know, just very like almost like more business minded like podcast, and like it's been cool to just see it boom, really. Didn't know like how it would turn out at first, like how like, you know, it would go, but like seeing like what it's evolved into has been very impressive, honestly. Like, so shout out to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Shout out to Brian Steinspear too.
Yeah. Brian, yeah, I was talking to Brian on like the Instagram DMs. I was like, Brian, like I need to visit you in Chile. Like I need to get down to South America. My sister went to South America last year. She said it was like awesome. She went to like Argentina and Chile. And she said it was awesome. I was like, Brian, like, will you have me? He's like, of course, bro. Like, I will have you.
You know, he runs his own podcast.
Yeah, Sobre Mesa, right?
Sobre Mesa podcast.
Yeah,
Sports podcast. It's in Spanish, so it's like
I
can't really tune in, man. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're saying.
Well, yeah, he does it with like a buddy. And
are they still running it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I haven't seen a lot because I used to see a lot of posts about it.
So
like, I've definitely seen significantly less, but
yeah. So let's talk about you, man. Like your Please Shut Up Media, that kind of came out of nowhere about a year ago?
A year ago, yeah.
Okay.
Please Shut Up Media started like in late March when I was working in New York for Deloitte. And, you know, basically I think there was 2 things that inspired me to do it. One was Alan Yang, and 2 was a book I read called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. And for if you don't know who Alan Yang is, he's a producer and screenwriter. He was the one that wrote. He was a big writer on Parks and Rec.
Okay.
He's a big writer on Parks and Rec. He went to Harvard, was studying biology, and, you know, he was like, biology, like, you know, he comes from an Asian family. His and his dad is a doctor. His dad, kind of like the whole like African dad, Asian dad, like, you're gonna be a doctor, like,
right.
You know, you're gonna be a doctor. And so he's studying biology at Harvard. Super smart dude, really good at science and math, but he didn't really like science. Like, it wasn't fulfilling him, and he's like, what he was really into was comedy and writing, right? He liked to be like he wanted to be like a comic writer. So he started writing for the Harvard Lampoon, which is like the school newspaper or magazine, and he was writing like jokes on there. From there, him and his boys were like, hey, let's start a blog. Like, let's just like make each other laugh. The original reason why they started the blog was just to like make each other laugh. Like, let's just write jokes and bash sports journalism. They called it firejoemorgan.com. And he started with Michael Schur. Michael Schur was a writer for The Office. So, you know, they started this blog, Fire Joe Morgan, and it kind of blew up. Like, Sports Illustrated named it like one of the most influential sports blogs of the 2000s or something like that. But, you know, they weren't making money from it. And, you know, after like reading more on Alan Yang and reading what he's done, he co-created Master of None, the Netflix original with Aziz Ansari.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he met Aziz Ansari through Parks and Rec.
Mm-hmm.
Before Parks and Rec, he was on South Park, writing for South Park. So all these opportunities, you know, that he was doing with his passion came from just, you know, going off the beaten old path of, you know, become a doctor. Even though he was super good at science and could have been a doctor, like he's smart enough for it. He was at Harvard studying biology. He was like, he had to ask himself those like hard questions, like, what do I really like to do? What am I passionate about? What is really exciting to me? And for him, it was comedy and producing and writing, screenwriting. And so that's what he did. And he kind of launched his career in writing and screenwriting through a blog. And so I thought that was really cool. That and a book called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, which is basically about, you know, fighting your inner creative blocks and just like, he talks a lot about resistance. Like the only way to honor your true self is to find your true purpose. And the only way you're going to do that is to beat resistance and that fear. And like, you know, there's a lot of creativity in a lot of us, but there's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of distractions in the world. And he talks a lot about that. He talks a lot about, you know, history, Greek history, and all these major players in Greek history. He talks about his own story in writing. He talks about all these examples about how people have overcome resistance to just achieve what their true purpose in life and achieve their creative passions and follow their dreams and all that. So I read that book. I was reading on Alan Yang, watched Alan Yang stuff. Obviously, Alan Yang is a beast now. He produced Crazy Rich Asians, the feature film.
He did.
Yeah. So he's just, I mean, he was invited to Jay-Z's listening party. Like he's a Hollywood player now. Like, and that would have never happened if he would have never started a blog. And the blog was just that first step. It wasn't his business. He didn't have money in mind. You know, a lot of people asked, I was telling Deca the twins out, and a lot of people asked me like, yo, so Jess, like, how do you plan on making money from this blog? Like, how are you making money right now? Like, and the answer is no, I'm not making money. I've actually put hundreds of dollars into the blog, but received zero. You know, like this is a passion of mine. I'm immersing myself in the culture that I am obsessed with to learn more about it, to master it. And so when those opportunities and roles in sports and entertainment come in the future, you know, after law school, after, you know, when those sports business and sports law opportunities come, then I can say like, hey, you know, I love this stuff. Look at Please Shut Up. This is what I've been talking about on these radio episodes with my friends. We've been talking about these topics. I've been writing on these topics. I've been researching these topics. I love this stuff. Look at these hundreds of articles that we've written. I've edited articles. I've collaborated with, you know, last year I shot like a little promo with like a couple models, but I never like aired it just because it wasn't produced right. But, you know, I was really like trying to like just put out this brand that I created, and I was really proud of it. I am really proud of it, even if it's not profitable. And it doesn't have to be profitable right away. I think when people have that, you know, sense of like, oh, this needs to make money right away, like it's not gonna happen that way. You just have to be obsessed with it. You have to have a passion for it before the money will come on its own. Honestly,
yeah,
it will come on its own. But first you have to learn about the culture that you want to be a part of.
And that's it, right? You got to learn about it, and you can show all of this that you've done, right? When you're done with law school and maybe this opportunity comes up, you can show to employers or to a friend that might have a connection in the industry saying, hey, this is what I've done.
Right.
But really, this is what I've learned, and this is how I've evolved my mind. When I was going through all of this and I was trying to master law school and like create this profession, I would spend this much time and I put this much effort without any intention of making a dime.
Absolutely.
And your brain just soaks that shit in, and you elevate yourself above everyone else with just trying to push yourself in that manner. I mean, you're speaking to the guys that do that every day.
We do it every day. And that's why, like, when we were talking,
that fires me up.
It fires me up when we were talking about this last week. And I think what you got to do is you got to change how you think about profitability, right? It's not profitable in dollars, and it's certainly not really profitable in your time, right? You're spending all this time, and then like people will spend 5 seconds looking at it.
Exactly.
5 seconds.
Exactly.
But
if that.
But once it actually if that. Fuck. God damn it. I'm not gonna talk about that anymore. But like look at it as profitable to your own well-being.
Exactly.
Like, dude, that's why it's a great passion. It's a passion project. That's what it starts out, and you just seed it and you grow it and you try and just cultivate whatever that is, and it's always evolving. You get to take the path that you want to make it, and you got to just kind of stay patient with it. And you got to stay consistent with it.
Consistency.
Oh, it's amazing.
Persistence, patience. I mean, obviously, like, do I want to be profitable in this industry in sports entertainment one day? Absolutely. But I do realize that, there's a sense of paying your dues. There's a sense of learning. There's a sense of mastering what you're talking about before you can go in and just try and make dollars from it, right? And I have a dream or a vision, at least, to start an agency, a sports entertainment agency, and with clients, the first question they're gonna be like, so why can you consult me on how I can better reach? I talk a lot about the multicultural millennial. That's like the target demographic. That's gonna be the face of America, is the multicultural millennial. By 2042, the U.S. Census Bureau says that the majority will undoubtedly be, the minority. Mm-hmm. The current minority will undoubtedly be the majority by 2042.
And it's us, it's our age people that will have that, yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be the new target demographic. And so if you're consulting a business on how to better reach that multicultural millennial, you're like, well, you claim your culture. Like, how are you culture, though? How are you culture? You can look back on Please Shut Up and the work that we've done with Please Shut Up, and the things that we've talked about, the topics we cover, and that's something that you could show then a client. They're like, oh wow, you are pretty knowledgeable on this topic. Okay. Oh wow, you went to graduate school. Okay, cool. Okay, I trust you now. You're credible. So it's kind of building that credibility as well before you can just go in. And don't get me wrong, I love the entrepreneurship. Like, I'm all about the entrepreneurship life. And young folks getting after it with their businesses at 19, 18. Like, I think that stuff's impressive,
mm-hmm.
They can just get up and just start doing what they love and just make money right away. That's awesome. But I think in the long run, it's a lot more beneficial to people when you can master what you are talking about, what you're passionate about, and master the culture that you're in, that being the industry that you're a part of. So, Please Shut Up, like you said, passion project, and it's a blog, it's a podcast now with just about 8 episodes. We're rookies in the podcast game.
Hey, but guess what? 90% of episodes don't make it past episode 7. So your episode,
is that right?
That is right.
90% of podcasts.
There are 550,000 podcasts on iTunes.
The barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
90% of them don't make it past 7.
I like that stat.
So congratulations.
Stat of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to
awesome.
Please Shut Up Media, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's fucking nuts.
What's the setup like? Just out of curiosity.
Oh my gosh. So the setup is so I'm in a condo, a condo unit, and we have a big open living room, dining room area. So there's a table there, and we just kind of do it at the table, and sometimes we have 2 to 3 guests or 2 to 3 people on the podcast, maybe running 2 mics. Obviously this setup is, professional. It
took 2 years to figure out.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I love it. And, it's you got the setup correct, but ours is very amateur, very rookie. We're still figuring it out. There's technical problems every week. There's problems every week. Sometimes it's oh gosh, what am I even doing this for? But you have to, going back to the cliche, remember why. Remember why you're doing it. Remember your passion. Don't want to be cliche, but it's true. That's the answer. So, we do it in the living room, dining room area, and it can be kind of frustrating sometimes just with, background noise and all that. Definitely at my next place want to dedicate a space to kind of a little cove to record and
trap the sound in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important. And it's important to the listeners as well, because if they hear background noise and all that stuff, they're like, oh, well, is this person serious about this? This sounds very amateur. This sounds very unprofessional. So, it's, we work with what we got. And
it's the content that speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. And I think it's we do it once a week, and it's just a way for us to kind of just get together, speak about what we love, speak about our passions, and just learn stuff while we're talking about it too.
I give you mad props too, because there are so many people that come on this show and I want to start a podcast. I just don't have the time, or I want to start a podcast, I don't know where to start. And we literally look at them like, grab your phone and talk into it and put it on Anchor, because
that's it.
It'll kick it out everywhere, and now you have your own podcast.
Yeah.
You can go as far as buy a mic and put it in your kitchen and record a podcast there. It's so simple, but people freak out, and then you have technical errors, and there are things that come up, and it's like, what the fuck am I doing? But then the reality is, like, I'm having fun, and I love putting this content out, and I've always wanted to do it. So mad props.
Yeah, there's not enough time. There's not enough time in a day. Like, no one has time. There's not enough time. You have to make time, though. Working full time, and then doing podcasts on the side, and then writing as well, like
running a social media.
It's all that stuff.
You wear all the hats, like, dude.
It's like, why am I? What is going on? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? But like, you feel like there's so many pulls in terms of like what's going on in your life. You're like, maybe I should just focus on my work. Maybe I should just go to my job, 8 to 4, 9 to 5. Maybe get a little workout in, and then just be done. But is that all you're gonna do with your life? Like, is that all you want to do? Like, I have a lot of family and friends that are just like so content with just, I'm gonna go to work. I might get a workout in, and then maybe I'll watch some Netflix, and I'll be done.
And then start it all over again.
With the life that you're given, you don't want to do more. You don't want to be great. That's good. That's really good. Staying out of trouble, going to work, maybe getting a little exercise in, watching your favorite show. Good life. But we're here to live great lives, to live our best life. And that's what I'm trying to do with, like, Please Shut Up. I just like had to start on the side because I was working in New York last year, and I was doing the 9 to 5 in New York. It's just like, oh my God, like I'm getting caught up in the rat race, the trap, the maze. Like I don't feel, fulfilled. And life after football, man, it's weird.
It's so
very weird.
Spending 13 years of your life.
It is. It's weird. And we hear about it all the time. Like the alumni come in, like, guys, cherish your stuff. I would pay so much money to get back and shoulder pass, and you're just like, you're sitting there on a knee, like, all right, guy, like, whatever. And then it happens to you. You do the banquet, and then you officially are done with football, and like you graduate from school, and it's like, wow, like there is a void. There is something that needs to be filled, right? And so,
and now you're out in New York right after graduation.
Yes.
Okay.
So I started at Deloitte in October 2017, and then was put on that project in Jersey City, New York, in February. So I was there for like until June, so about 4 to 5 months. And it was a very cool experience for work, but there was something else I felt that was missing, and after reading up on Alan Yang, like I said, reading books on the War of Art. I read a book called Unlabeled by Mark Ecko. He started Ecko Unlimited and the clothing company, and Complex. He started Complex.
Yeah. Did he?
Yeah, he did. And he's talking about like building your brand, and obviously Mark Ecko and all these people, they had other things going on in their lives, but they also did other things, other passionate things that they were passionate about. And so I think it's like the same way with like income. Like you make income, and you put your money into different places. You put it into investing in income. You put it into savings. He's like, you have to put your time into different places as well. Mental health, reading books, or physical health, working out, your work. You have to make earned income as well, and investing, stuff like that. So it's like, put your time into different things. And I think it's very crucial to put your time, dedicate some time into things that you're passionate about, whatever it may be. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think it's kind of nuts, too, with filling that void from football, because football was so challenging every single day. And we all know that grind, too, but it was just, you showed up every single day, and even for, like, me personally, it was just, like, you're not getting any playing time. You're on the scout team. Like, why are you actually doing this? Your why was challenged all the time. We talk about the why, and it really cultivates itself, and it should be kind of this more loose term, this loose path that you follow. And that was always so eye-opening to me, because I did it for you guys. I loved being on the team. I loved actually challenging myself. I saw a ton of value in that. And now I just take those kind of things, and I do that in my free time after work. I listen to people tell their stories at least once a week. I go and work out. Like yesterday, my 3-mile run turned into a 7.5-mile run.
Really?
Because of IO.
Because of IO. Because I was like, fuck, IO.
Yeah.
I wouldn't turn around right here. I would. I was like, IO would.
Beasting out there running.
Bro, that man's crazy. Yeah. But he was in my head, bro. Like I literally was running like around Lake Calhoun, and I usually just kind of turn around and not run around the whole lake. I was like, fuck it, dude. I'm just gonna run around the whole thing.
Yep.
But again, like that challenge, and then I took the step like with comedy, and I was just like, I'm gonna challenge myself. I want to try that out.
I saw that, man. That's awesome. That, you know how brave you have to be to like get up on stage and just start telling jokes. Like you have to keep on going. Like you have to keep on going, especially if you're passionate about it.
He shows up every Thursday and puts his name in the list, and they only pick 10 people.
Oh yeah.
And like, how many times have you been? Probably 15, 20?
Yeah, I've been 15, 20. I've
and got twice. Yeah. So he just goes and you put your name on the list, and it's open mic, and it's just a funnel, and you just the owner Corey just picks the list. And
is this at Acme?
This is Sisyphus, right over here. A little brewery.
Yep.
And I mean, it's the coolest thing because everyone goes up there and they're just trying their ass off, and like it's the comfortable vibe of like if you're not trying, you're gonna get booed off the stage if you're just going up there bullshitting,
right? Because
they can tell right away. But if you're trying, and even if you're bombing and you're trying, like the crowd will try to hype you up,
right?
And it's fucking hard, dude.
Yeah,
like,
sure. I've heard Minneapolis is a great place to kind of like
try
do comedy.
Yes,
though,
it is
because it's
it's
pretty
just
open-minded audience But that's so cool. Like I like my favorite comic is Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
And
did you see him when he came here?
I didn't. He was doing it at Varsity Theater, right?
Yep.
Oh my god.
We blew that.
Bad.
We should have gone.
I wanted to go so bad, but I couldn't work it. I couldn't work it out. I couldn't get someone to go with me too. So I think tickets were going for like $160 though on Craigslist. But I couldn't get anyone to go with me. So, but I've always wanted to low key like get on stage one day and just like try and tell a couple of jokes. Just see what it'd be like. Just like. Stuff like that is really cool to me. Like, it's awesome that you're doing that.
It's a craft in itself, but at the same time, you really have to commit yourself to like failure because the failure is tough and everything, but it's so eye-opening to like when you tell that one joke in a crowd of 8 people and you get like 2 people to laugh because you're like, oh shit, like that was funny. Yeah. Okay, I got it. And then you like that consistent practice of, knowing the delivery, knowing the energy you have to bring, and then knowing how that's going to make someone feel, and your confidence in that too. Like you can go up and tell a joke, and if you're just like you're unsure about it, people are going to be unsure about it.
Right.
So
how do you feel on stage though? Like what are you feeling?
Are
you feeling excitement? Everything?
Yeah.
Nervousness?
It's that flip of the switch of going from that nervous energy, kind of like football. Like you're nervous before the game, you're building up, build up, and then that first play where you take on the fullback and it's like, fuck, here we are. Yep. That's what it feels like. You hit that stage, you hit that mic, you pull the mic out of the thing, and you're like, hey everyone, my name's Declan Brown. And then I always set my first line, my first like 10 words has to bring the fucking energy or set the tone or do something.
Right.
So once I have that, then that's like my first hit on the fullback.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's just like, all right, let's read the crowd and let's go.
Fullback.
There you go. Crack the fullback.
That's awesome though, man.
Yeah, it's fun.
I gotta get out to a show. Like, let me know
every Thursday I'll go. Yeah. It's no guarantee that I get on, but I'm slowly starting to do like shittier mics on the side and then just telling everyone to keep going to Sisyphus because even if I don't get on at Sisyphus, it's still a really fun time. There's some really, really good comics where you can just show up, have a couple beers, and like it's really like the scene is very eye-opening to a lot of people, and people don't just go to open mics. They go to like a Chappelle or they'll go to a Deloitte or something,
right? But
they never go to like an open mic and see kind of what's below, what's beneath the surface. Yeah, and they're still amazing.
That's where all the big time comics start.
They still go.
Yeah,
and they still go. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out like if Joe Rogan ever comes in town for like a UFC fight night, if he does open mics in the city like before his shows.
Ooh.
Do you think he ever would do that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's way too big, right?
Yeah,
way too big.
Yeah.
But Chappelle, like he talks about Chappelle all the time, and he talks about how Chappelle just loves and just going to open mics, and he'll just show up random places.
Just randomly.
Kevin Hart talked about it too, how he does that, and Kevin Hart's the biggest of the big right now.
He brings in the most money out of any comedian out there right now.
Dude, he's
so nuts.
So rich, man.
He works his ass off.
He's always doing something.
Right.
He's always doing something.
I'm curious, and I'm gonna gas you up here for a second.
Gas.
the football aspect was like where we bonded, and that's how I got to know you. And when I just mentioned that I saw you as a humble person, and you kind of were like, really? And I just want to reaffirm that for you. Being a year younger and on the defense, just trying to like train my mind to have that confidence to perform on the football field, I struggled with for 3 years.
Sure.
And it did not click until I was a senior.
Sure.
And that's when I finally like made special teams, and I was backing up Isaac and Fonda.
Yeah.
When they got injured, I was the next guy in.
Yep.
Me and Jordy and Doomer. It was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
With that confidence aspect came from just like observing, and people like you and Charlie and Dom Tricola,
Right.
like these guys played with passion, but they also just had so much confidence in them.
Yes.
And you can probably, you might go the other way and say, I never saw it get into your head to where you're not going to perform at that high level anymore.
Right.
You knew you had to come out with some fucking fire and some just ferociousness
Right.
to elevate your game every time.
Sure.
And in the biggest of moments, that's when you would do that.
Yeah.
And that's where I see the humility aspect.
Sure. Yeah.
So
that makes a lot
that's
of sense.
me gassing you up, and
I appreciate the gas. That was no, yeah, that's. I mean, in football, especially in all sports, you have to perform confidently if you're going to be successful. I try to, at St. Thomas especially, I tried not to let our success on the field, get to my head in terms of in my personality. I tried to be. Keyword try to be
exactly.
as humble as possible outside of football, and just be respectful of people, and and try and not be like arrogant, like an arrogant football. Last thing I wanted to be was that arrogant linebacker that went to St. Thomas, blah blah blah. Like, but when you're in the game, when you're playing the sport, you have to ooze confidence. You have to know your role, and you have to do it at 10,000 speed.
Mm-hmm.
Like 10,000%. So. That's really cool that you shared that with me. I would have never known that.
Yeah.
You never told me that.
Well, and from like my perspective, it was always so like you're an insanely freak of an athlete, dude. Like you played the outside linebacker position exactly how Coach K wants someone to play that position, dude.
I love Coach K.
That guy, dude.
I love seeing him at the Twins outing too. We spoke, and dude, he is major influence in my life. Just like one of the best coaches I've ever had. Like a lot of reasons why I was the player I was because of him. Like he taught the position in a way that was just like he made you into like an animal. Like he was so like ferocious and so intense with his coaching, and like there was one week I think it was Gustavus running backs like cut a lot. They would just like go at your knees, try to cuss you. We were practicing jumping over bags. Like he's like, all right guys, this week we're gonna run full speed and jump over this running back. He was like, Coach, like I was like, Coach, like isn't that a little bit dangerous? Like he's like, just trust me. And we're practicing this, like we're running full speed at a bag, and he would chuck a bag at you and you have to jump over it.
Yeah.
It's like, and the whole week you're thinking, okay, I have to be prepared to run at somebody full speed. Ask Dylan Andrew. I saw Dylan Andrew do it at full speed. Run at someone full speed and jump over them, like hurdle them to get to a quarterback. It's crazy. It's like, but like it goes back to that confidence thing. It's like you have to be a confident player to accomplish a task like that. Like a coach is asking you to do this, you have to do it. And that's one of the things with sports. Like I think one of the greatest things is just making your coach happy. Like if you make your coach happy, like you're happy. Like at least that's how I was. Like at the end of the day, like if my coach was happy with like my performance, if he was happy with the team, like we did our job.
Exactly.
Like, we're good.
Yep.
Like Coach K is happy, Coach Cruz was happy. Like I'm happy.
We're good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's cool too though is, it doesn't like that confidence just isn't always there right away. Like Andrew said, 3 years and then senior year, boom, it's there. But like I always think back to like coming in as a freshman, and like your confidence was there from your high school, but then it just gets totally put to ashes
you're talking
when you
about
show up. Yeah, right.
God.
And it's
that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But everyone has that type of moment, right?
Yeah.
And it's all just like they're trying to really make you know that, hey, you're gonna have to earn it here.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to find your way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the stuff, and you've already shared plenty of examples that we've taken away from St. Thomas football, where like we're bottom of the barrel now here in our lives, and we got to find a way to elevate ourselves.
Sure.
And life's going to hit you hard. It's going to punch you in the face. You're going to have technical issues with your podcast.
Yep.
You're going to have some struggles at Deloitte sometimes, and you got to find a way to get through it, whether it's a dude next to you gassing you up, or you just got that mental fortitude where you're just I'm gonna push through it.
Yeah. I'm like, being a part of the program for 4 years was just like a blessing. Like I am who I am because of that, being a part of St. Thomas football, and all the people I've met, you guys, and all the friends that I've made, the brotherhood that it is just, it was incredible. It's incredible, and I would not be who I am today without what I learned throughout the program. And shout out to like you guys, like working your ass off for a couple of years, like on the scout team. Like I have so much respect for those like scout team players that they just come in and just grind. And it's like sometimes I talk to myself, like if I was on the scout team right now, like in this weather, like I don't know if I would still be playing. Like it's so easy to be like, you know what, coach, like it's been a fun ride, thank you for the opportunity, but I'm done. I've seen tons of friends do it. Tons and tons of friends do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they would tell me before they do, like, yo, like, like I love you, but like I'm done, man. I can't do this anymore. It's tough.
Yep. And
like those players that come in and for the betterment of the team, they just come in and just grind. They just come in and they read the cards and they do the cards. I was doing it all freshman year. I was gonna quit. I was gonna transfer to like Mizzou or Minnesota.
I remember hearing that.
Wisconsin. Yeah. I was like, I was filling out transfer papers. Like I'm out of this like school is. I hate, dude. Freshman year, like December, like I was like set on leaving St. Thomas. Was so done with it. Was not about it at all. J-turn comes around, and I have so much time to think. It was 30 days to just at home. I wasn't even working J-turn freshman year. I was just thinking like, wow, okay, what do I really want? What do I want to be? Am I a football player? Do I want to just go to school and party? Like what's going to make me the best person that I can be? Like, what's going to make me happy? And I was thinking, listening to music, thinking for like a month. And I thought about all the relationships I already built at St. Thomas, and they were powerful. They were powerful enough for me not to leave, I met some incredible people my fall semester freshman year, some incredible people, and I couldn't leave them. I wasn't going to leave them. And so I was like, you know what? I'll at least finish this year off and see how it goes. And the rest is history.
Yeah,
Stayed
evolved
the 4
from
years,
there.
and it got better. And the experience of school, like, and football got better and better and better. It only got better from that fall semester freshman year. It was tough. It was very hard, but I don't regret a thing. Like I loved it. I loved it.
That's how I operated too. It was like, I was in these really unfortunate situations from time to time, and that happens to everybody, right?
Right.
But when I always thought about like, maybe I should just hang it up, or just go and do engineering, and I'm already occupied there. I could have given myself a lot of excuses, but it was that regret aspect where it's like I couldn't walk past that football field at 3:30 on a Tuesday and see you guys practicing and just be like,
alive.
Like,
it would eat me alive. Like
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't, like, it would be so easy to do, but then you think you're done with school now, then you think like, what if I kept on playing? What if I don't want to be thinking that. Like, I'm so glad that I stayed and finished. It's so easy to just be like, I'm done. I quit. Like, it's so easy to do. And it might even feel more comfortable to do that. It's just easier. Like, life's just a lot less stressful, but like, is it worth it? Is it going to be worth it in the end?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
No, that people don't realize how often that thought comes into your head of like, I'm done. I put in my time. And it's hard to overcome that on a consistent basis. And you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And one area that you've already mentioned was you going out to New York. And I mean, that must have lit a bit of a bug in you, being here in Minnesota for all of your young adult life, and then going there for 4 or 5 months. And getting like your eyes open to the rat race of New York.
Oh yeah, it's a big city.
Mm-hmm.
And you start thinking a lot bigger. And people are running around this city like just always on the move. And I was just like kind of living in that narrow like work, maybe work out, get a workout in and then done. But like I think geographically, like you just said, like geographically, like where you are is also going to shape who you become. And so, that like New York's you've been, right? You guys have been?
I've been to New York a few times.
I've never been in New York.
Oh, you've never been, Deck?
I've driven by it.
Go over there this summer. Get out to New York this
My
summer.
sister she goes to Cornell, and she wants me to come visit.
Oh,
so
sweet.
I'm 1,000,000% going out there.
Perfect.
It's gonna be sick.
No, it's big.
It's so big, and everything's so tall.
Yeah.
And it's just vast.
Yeah.
It takes up everything.
It's like never ending.
Never ending
city landscape. And, people think big there, think bigger. And I love Minneapolis. I love, it's my hometown. I consider it my hometown. Although I was born in New Jersey and lived there for the first 8 years of my life.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, moved to Minnesota with my family in 2004.
Okay.
And so haven't always been in Minnesota, but, Minnesota adopted me. Like, I love it. And I love Minneapolis. But I think the folks in Minneapolis sometimes think a little bit too, in the box. They don't think out of the box enough. And there's some really great minds in this city, like you guys. You guys starting the Backpocket podcast. Like, that was you guys influenced so many people, and I think a lot of people were like, holy shit, like, I want to start a podcast now. And I even had some people text me like, hey, like, I like your Please Shut Up blog. Like, it's kind of like inspiring me. Like, I kind of want to start like drawing, and I kind of want to start getting back into my creative. I'm like, yeah, man, like, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. Just start doing it. Like, why not? And share it with people. And then, like, you'll feel good. It's just like anything else. Like, you work out, you feel good. You read a book, like, you feel good. Like, you tap into your creative side a little bit, you feel good. Like, just start doing it. Like, I love inspiring people to, like, do positive things for themselves. It's great. It's great.
And I think that really helped me out there, like, of what our definition or what we want to define as, like, an influencer, doing something, tapping into their creative side, doing what they love, and just sharing it with the people they love.
Yeah.
Right? That's
what it's about.
That's what it's about.
I mean, it's one thing to just do it, I see this great, I keep on looking at this, who drew this again?
My brother did.
Your brother? Yeah, that's freaking awesome.
And then Declan's sister painted that.
His sister made that. Like, I keep on looking at this paint, like, this is awesome. Like, this is, like, it's making my mind, like, it's like giving me all these sorts of ideas. But, like, it's one thing, like, for your sister or your brother to make this piece of art, right? It's one thing to just make it. And you look at it, and it's like, wow, I made this. I'm proud of this. But it's another thing to share it with people. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, I could, for Please Shut Up, I could just, like, write an article, put some visuals in there, make it clean, edit it like 10,000 times, proofread it 10,000 times, and be like, oh wow, I made this great piece, wrote this great article. But it's another thing to put it out into the world and share it and get people's other, like, feedback on it, get other people's thoughts on it, and ideas. Mm-hmm. I wrote on Coach Luke Walton, former Lakers coach, now Sacramento Kings head coach, being accused of sexual assault. And I was writing about this article, and I emphasized how it's important for us to also hear Luke Walton's side of the story. I think just as much as the accuser, Kelly Tennant, just as much as Kelly Tennant believed that she had to tell her truth, I also believe that Luke Walton's story deserves to be told just as much as Kelly Tennant's story deserves to be told. And I had a girlfriend, hit me up right away. She's like, I just read this article. Like how, like, are you serious right now? Like, how can you even, like, blah blah blah, just going off on me? And we had a conversation about it, and it's an ongoing conversation. And, like, that's what I'm looking like. That's like, if I'm starting that type of discussion with people and that we're having that conversation, then I am doing my job. Like, that's why I started this thing. Like, that type of engagement gets me excited. And it wasn't like bad blood or anything, but now we're having, like, a respectful conversation about, this, like the Me Too movement, the sexual assault things, and how it's affecting our culture and not in media with Hollywood and sports. So, yeah, and that would have never happened. My whole point is that would have never happened if I didn't share the article.
Yes,
right.
So it's important to also share your thoughts, your art, your ideas with the world, your podcast. Like, it's important. Like, you have to do it. You have to do it.
The book turned into movie, Into the Wild. The last line of that entire movie is "True happiness is shared." And, like, that speaks volumes. Like, you can be as happy as you like inside your own little brain, and that is fulfilling in itself. But once you can share that and other people can be uplifted and rewarded and see the time and the effort and all the passion that you put into it, then that happiness is just even evolved and turned into what you're saying right now. It's pretty cool.
AC, that reminds me, AC just tweeted off his like personal like Twitter account. Like he tweeted something along the lines of, AC also helps out with like the radio episodes. Shout out AC. He does a lot of like the audio stuff for us. But he tweeted something along the lines like, what if this life was all about being happy for yourself? Like, what would you do if it was just all about being happy for yourself? You know, like, what would you really do? Right? And it was like a mind-blowing emoji, because I think what he's trying to get at with that tweet is like, it's not all about you just being happy for yourself. Like, you have to also share your just like you said, share your happiness and spread happiness around, and make sure the people you care about, the people you love, are happy as well. You know, like, you want what is being happy if the people around you aren't happy? You know, like, it's pointless at that point. Especially if the people around you are people that you care about.
Right.
You're not happy then if the people around you aren't happy. So it's like, you have to share. You have to share your ideas, share your thoughts, share your art.
Amen.
And I think it's tough too, because there are also this other group of people that want to help and like share as much as they possibly can, but they don't look enough inwards to, you know, help themselves. Like, are you truly happy with yourself if you're also telling other people how to be happy?
True.
So I do think there is a part where you gotta do stuff for you.
True.
And do something that's gonna make you happy, which should be the whole, you know, scope of what you're doing. But at the same time, do something that's gonna make you happy regardless of the outcome of anybody else.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I think that's been one eye-opening thing for me in this podcast, was when we started the Backend Show. And the Backend Show was always tagged to like a Monday episode. And we just kind of cut that to highlight more of the guest, and then made our own show where it's just us and we get to do what we want and be creative and kind of challenge ourselves to do something that's kind of us.
Yeah.
And I was kind of uneasy about it for a while, because I was just like, this is so opposite of like anything. If you're going to listen to The Back Pocket Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, you're just like, what the fuck is this Thursday episode type thing? But then when we were talking to Corey at Sisyphus the other day, he was like, I love how you guys tailor your podcast to the guest. And that's what we do, right? Our conversation with Jesse Addo is entirely different than our conversation with Austin Yoakum, but they're also best friends. And like, you can make that example for everybody. But when it's just like we tailor the podcast to those people, we tailor the podcast to ourselves on Thursday, and that's the result.
Right.
And it's like so much fun. I think it's amazing.
That's truth.
It's crazy. Blew my mind.
Blew your mind. And that's like a thing that we've learned over time. We were average at it first.
Takes
time, and we grow from there.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge average quality out of our aspect.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're looking at two wildly average guys.
I know.
Exactly.
No I realize that.
Yep.
Yes. The cat's out of the bag. You guys are wildly average people.
And that brings us to our favorite question, the question we ask all of our guests. It's, what's your average quality? Something you do well at times and other times not so well. So, Jesse, what's your average quality?
Dude, you know, getting this question kind of fucks me up, because as a society, like, we always think about like our strengths and weaknesses. You know, like, what are you really good at? What are you really bad at? You know, but you don't really take the time to think about what you're like just like dead even at. Like, what are you super average about? And like, it makes you think, like, because I feel like I'm average at a lot of things, but you just like, it's hard to just like kind of like zone in on like on one quality. But like, if I were to pick one, I'd probably say like cooking. Like,
yeah,
I don't think I'm a good cook. I don't think I'm a bad cook.
Are you breakfast guy?
I like cooking breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to cook something, I'm cooking breakfast.
That's the average quality. Everyone is good at breakfast.
Yeah.
Yep.
But even like with that, I don't even eat breakfast like every day. Like, I don't. I try, like,
I eat breakfast for dinner. Like the breakfast meal, I eat that for
like
dinner.
I like breakfast meals, right? But as a practice, like, I don't eat breakfast. It's really like I probably should. You know, I hear it's like
fasting, dude.
bad for you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm all about that intermittent fasting. Like, but like I hear it's like bad for you, whatever. Like, Adam Thielen got on the commercials like, hey, eat breakfast, guys. And it's like, that's a big influence. Like, oh, Adam Thielen's telling me to eat breakfast. Like, I better eat breakfast. But I'm so bad at eating breakfast. But yeah, back to like the cooking thing. Like, I think I'm so average at cooking. But if I'm to cook something, I like cooking breakfast food
for sure.
Yeah,
it's
delicious.
I associated like my average cooking with just time. Like, I could definitely put in the time to like learn how to make a really dank shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie.
Yo, let me fuck up a shepherd's pie.
That is such a white meal. Shepherd's pie.
Yo, what's a shepherd's pie again?
It's like, isn't that like with the? It's like casserole almost, right?
Kind of, yeah. It's like ground beef. You can put some seasoning and barbecue in there, and then you put mashed potatoes over top of that, and then you put like cheese.
It's good though.
It's very good.
It's good
And very white.
Yeah.
Very white.
Very white.
Oh man, yo, I love how you just were like, you preface that with the average quality gets in your head, right? Because no one really takes time to unpack that. And a lot of our guests will come on here and be like, we've had a DJ come on, and they've said, my average quality is DJing. Tyler Schmidt said this.
Really?
And he's like, because I want to be so good at it, right now I'm not where I want to be, and every day I'm trying to improve at it, so I just look at myself as an average DJ.
That's honest.
Yeah. It's really cool how people like have embraced the average quality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what's cool about the average quality is like your weakness. A lot of times the reality is your weakness will pretty much always be your weakness. Right. Your strength, like you better triple down on it. It's going to always be your strength. But the average quality, the caveat there is it can become a strength.
It can.
But if you don't do anything about it, it will become a weakness.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And some people will choose, and they've even said on a show, like they will delegate their average qualities to other people, right? Because they're like, I realize that I'm not. It's something that I can get done, but it's prohibiting me being even more productive, and I can get so much more value out of it than to just outsource that shit. Mm-hmm. Sure. And that's been another like eye-opening thing about the average quality. But this is a transition is from the average quality. That's something you're not so great. Sometimes you're a little bit better at it. The next question is what's in your back pocket? And this is something that you carry around in your back pocket all the time, ready to overcome those difficult situations. So Jesse, what's in your back pocket?
Yeah, so I would probably say if we're talking a physical thing, it'd probably be a book. And I love to like read in my free time. I try to read as much as I can when I'm not working or doing other things with like, the blog and all that. And I learn a lot from the books. I'm very like particular with the books I order, and the books I order are very calculated. And when I'm trying to like learn a specific thing, or when people started to approach me about monetizing, like please shut up. Like I ordered a book on SEO, started like learning about search engine optimization and stuff like that, and how that can turn into dollars for the blog. Just want to learn more about the topic. Or I don't read a lot of novels anymore. Although my favorite book is The Godfather, and my favorite movie is The Godfather. That's a fantastic book. If you haven't read The Godfather, read it. It's not a true story, but it is, has all the themes of like love and, betrayal, loyalty. A lot of things my family values are in that book, except for violence and murder.
Yeah. We'll take that point out. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point about the violence and murder.
No. Yeah. Great book. And like, yeah, I would say a book or reading is in my back pocket, just because, when things get tough, when I'm stressed out, I open a book, and I might even go back to old chapters that I read in the past from books that, that I've read, like, 48 Laws of Power. Like I open that book up sometimes and read some chapters in there. There's some really good chapters and really like intriguing history by Robert Greene, and The War of Art, obviously what pushed me to start Please Shut Up Ultimately by Steven Pressfield. That's another great book, really short book. It's not very long, probably like 200 pages. And when things are going crazy in my life, and like it doesn't happen often where things are going crazy, but like if I'm feeling like stressed out or upset and I just need to meditate on something, I'll open up a book and just read a few chapters, and things I feel better after that.
That's awesome. Right. Did you read books like throughout your whole life?
No, definitely not. No.
Same.
I played a lot of video games.
Yeah,
I still play a ton of video games, but yeah, I started reading regularly. The summer going into sophomore year at St. Thomas.
Okay.
Came home from the summer, and my older brother was, just about to start law school, or maybe he was in the middle of law school, and he was just like, Jess, you like, start reading, bro. Like, you need to start reading. Like, he just like, one day, like, I was just like, bullshitting around the house or something, and I don't know what I was doing, but he's like, yo, like, start reading. Like, read these old books that I read. Like, just start reading. And I started with The Firm by, I believe it's John Grisham, or, yeah.
John Grisham?
Tom Cruise. Yeah, thanks, Ty, for the verification. Tom Cruise, he starred in the movie The Firm, if you've seen it. But The Firm it's a novel about like a lawyer who gets into this really corrupt law firm, and it's just like he gets into this like really like crazy firm that's all about like murder and like, it's crazy. But I read that and it really inspired me. So I'm like, wow, that was like a really good book. And like I read another one and I read like Dale Carnegie, like How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a really good book. So many golden nuggets, as you guys would say, in that book. Really great book. And then I just kept on going, kept reading. Nice. And like before you know it, like I had like a book that I was in the middle of, you know, all the time. Like there's not a book that I'm like not reading at one point in time. Like right now, I've never read Phil Knight. Right now I'm reading Shoe Dog. And
I just got that for my mom sent it to me for Easter.
Yeah. Like I've never got around to Shoe Dog. I always see it like on my friends like counters or like
bookshelves.
Yeah, just bookshelves. Like I always see Shoe Dog.
It's
like,
in the kitchen.
It's the Nike. Time. Yeah, it's the Nike book. You know, it's the Nike book. I'm like, oh, Phil Knight. Yeah. But like he's had a really interesting life. Like he's had a really interesting journey, and it's really cool to see how Nike was created, how it was formed, and you know. So I'm reading that right now, and I just got done with 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. That was a really thick one. Like 500 pages.
2 C's, man.
Yeah, just try to read a law a day, and yeah,
that's sick.
I think it's pretty cool. So I've been reading now for pleasure since 2014.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Better late than never, though.
Absolutely.
Right, and just to expand on that a little bit, like I was the same way. Like didn't really want to commit myself to reading throughout high school, and then even in college, it wasn't really hitting home until I had this literary villains class where we literally read like Gone Girl, No Country for Old Men.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Dude, we read some like dark books.
That's pretty cool.
And it was just like a 20-page night type class, and I was hooked.
Yeah.
And they're all fictional, right? And then I ended up reading the entire Harry Potter series the last 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. And there's a whole story behind that because I went on a J-term, a fine arts class to London and Ireland.
Okay.
And it was a theater class. And it was all girls. I was the only guy who signed up.
Really?
Yeah. And then it was fun. Like they were all like huge into Harry Potter. Like we went to all the different things, like Station 3/4, and I had no idea what any of this stuff.
Station 3/4, yeah.
Bro, I had no idea what any
Diagon Alley.
Diagon Alley, exactly, dude. I had no idea what any of this stuff was, and so when I got back, I was like, all right, I'm gonna read each book, watch a movie after, and so I just finished the series in February. But that got me just like so tuned into reading, and now I'm even doing audiobooks too. So like I'll listen to audiobooks, like super intellectual audiobooks, and then I'm reading like Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Work Week right now.
Yeah, I've been recommending that book.
Mm-hmm. Very highly recommend.
The yellow and black cover, right?
Yes. I think so. Yeah.
Yep. Or the 4-Hour
yellow
Work Week is like orange and reddish.
Yeah, the other Tribe of Mentors is that one you're talking about.
Tribe of Mentors. That's one. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's a brilliant dude right there.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Ferriss is the guy. Yeah. Books, man. Oof.
Andrew, you've read some good books, dude.
Yeah,
he's the highlight guy. So he had 4-Hour Work Week, and he got like 100 pages in. By the way, I passed you up now.
Nice. 140, I thought.
140, yeah. But it's funny to read a book after you read it because he like highlights like key stuff in there.
Oh, really?
I write in all my books.
Yo, the guy's highlighting.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
What I do is I'll go back in that book and then I'll put it in a Google Doc. Everything that I highlighted, so I don't have to ever go back in that book.
Wow.
I'll just put it in a Word doc.
It's smart.
Yeah.
That's real smart.
And that's all the gold nuggets. That's what I take away. I just put it on quotes and I put the page number on there if I ever want to like read more about it.
Sure.
See this.
See, the thing with me and highlighting books, I feel like it slows me down.
It does.
And like I really want to like just keep on going, and like the highlighting slows me down, and I'm kind of like OCD when it comes to like notes and highlighting. Like my highlights have to be perfect. Like my notes, if I make like a mistake when I'm writing notes, like I have to erase it and fix it. So like it really slows down my reading. But man, that's impressive that you do that.
Yeah, it definitely slows my I'm not reading as many books as you are, but I try. That's the key part, right? We try.
Yes, we try.
But this brings us to the final 3 questions of the conversation. The first one is, we love to challenge ourselves on the podcast. Is there anyone that you would like to challenge us to get on our show?
Oh, yes. I would challenge you guys to get, excuse my nepotism, but get my brother Kojo Addo on the podcast because he is
Is that your older?
Yes, my older brother. The one that encouraged me to start reading. I actually just podcasted with him last night, and he's a lawyer at Schwabel, Getz & Seaman. He's an injury law lawyer, and
What's the firm name again?
Schwabel, Getz & Seaman.
Okay.
Injury law firm in Minneapolis, and he has a lot of interesting clients. And I think his experience as a black attorney in the city of Minneapolis is very unique. And I think you guys can chop it up a little bit and talk about, what kind of clients he has. He has some crazy stories. He's a great impressionist, so he's very funny. And he's also, kind of after seeing what I've been doing with Please Shut Up in the blog, he's also kind of tapping into his creative side as well. He's a really good sketch artist. I put up a picture of one of his sketches on the Please Shut Up Media Instagram account, and he's getting back into drawing, and he's designing clothes, and he's getting back into his artsy side, which I think is really cool. I think you guys can have a really cool conversation. Another person I would say is Grace Tafoya. Grace is a sports management major at Iowa, and she's kind of been one of my partners with Please Shut Up and on the business side of things and helping with marketing. And I remember when I started the blog back in 2018 in the summer, she made a Google Doc, Please Shut Up marketing campaign, blah, blah, blah. These are the influencers, the key influencers we need to get to push this thing out. She wrote a 3-page Google Doc on marketing tactics and public relations, and she's really good at tapping. She knows how to get reactions out of people through via Twitter or Instagram. She's a really good captionist, if you will, if that's a word. She's really good at captions, and she's funny, and so she's been a very valuable asset to work with, and she has connections with us for the blog and the agency in the future in New York and Los Angeles. And I think she could have a pretty interesting conversation with you guys as well.
Sick.
Yeah, she's from Iowa, but
she live around here, or?
She will be here this summer studying for the LSAT, and God bless her. And I know that experience is not fun at all, but hopefully one of these days she can take a break and get on the back pocket and chop it up with you guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just a couple of referrals.
Those are sweet. I love those.
There's plenty more. I would say.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Next question.
Absolutely. So we've been peppering you with questions all day, all podcast. So we're going to open up the floor for if you have any questions for us.
Cool. Do I have any questions for you? Okay. Yeah, I do have questions for you. These boom arms.
Oh, these the mic booms.
Yes, these the mic booms. You guys are ordering all this equipment off of Amazon, correct?
That's correct.
Wow. And I think Andrew said it took you guys 2 years to get all of this equipment
to figure out the right setup,
the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Look, people, if you haven't been into the studio, this is legit. This is legit. If you're blessed enough to get into this studio, it's awesome. This has been a great conversation. It's an awesome time. I guess the last question I have for you is, where do you guys see the Back Pocket going in the next 5 years?
That's the question that we get the most out of any time that we we always get it because we don't set ourselves in saying this is where the podcast is going to be. We're going to be the number one podcast in the U.S. or in the world.
We're going to get 1 billion downloads.
1 billion.
1 billion. Wait, aim for the sky.
Exactly. We could say all that stuff.
Yeah.
But really, we were just chopping it up with Nolan Rockers and just talking about where we see this going. It's loving every aspect of that. And within that, what do we love about this most is having people on the show and unpacking their story and truly being able to show our appreciation and you being able to show all the awesome things you've done and having the ability to push that out to our audience. So where is this Back Pocket heading? It's towards our audience.
Sure.
We live and breathe through our audience, and we are figuring out ways to enhance and embody our audience to grow our business tenfold. And this is through doing our social media that we spend 8 hours a piece a week on.
You guys are really good at the social media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very, very good. You know how to do you guys have someone that is creating these visuals? The way you guys create your you're kind of your promos and tune in next week to Marketing Intern Spotlight, where for this person you guys have the words, the subtitles going.
Yep.
Then you have their name and a cool little font with the BP on the side, and it's everything looks very clean.
Mm-hmm.
It's are you two doing
That's
that?
us.
Yeah.
You guys are very good at it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's what's most impressive to me about the Back Pocket, besides like the dope studio and just like speaking well and articulately on the mic. I think one of the most impressive things about the podcast to me is the way you market the podcast and on these different outlets through Instagram, and the funky visuals you have to promote a marketing intern, or the funky just like everything looks clean and like very professional. It looks like you have like a social media coordinator.
Dude,
but we are the social media coordinators.
Now learning that is you guys like doing all that. I mean, you guys have to give me a couple tips on how to. I mean, Grace is also great at that too. But you guys should definitely give me a couple tips on how to better present your brand on social media, because that's the one thing that I'm learning right now.
Right, and you're tapping on something that's again, like off of what both of you guys are saying, is this movement of your brand. A lot of people have one, but they don't necessarily know how to deliver it. And a podcast like is just a great catalyst of a long form way to like get who Jesse Addo is out there.
Sure. And
we know how to articulate, market that, put it out in the right areas. So now it's more so guest acquisition is huge, but also guest collaboration is also big.
Right.
And we can create like a production media company or something that could help these people grow their brands.
Absolutely.
But in a more organic fashion, because like you said at the very beginning, and bring it all back, like we aren't making bags off of putting podcasts out. Like we've done this all voluntarily and just tested. And ever since last year of like February 2018, we posted every single day on Instagram. If you go back to those posts, they're nothing to what they are now.
Yeah.
And the hours we put in now, and how we learned Adobe Premiere, and just the consistent grind of trying to get better. That stuff is tangible, and we want to start collaborating and sharing that with other people.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Like it sounds cliche, but that process, the trust the process, Joel Embiid, Sixers, like that stuff's real. Like you really do have to believe in what you're doing and believe in just the patience, persistence, consistency that it's going to take to get where you want to be. Obviously, do you guys want to be making money from the Back Pocket podcast one day? Of course. Why wouldn't you? You guys love this stuff. Of course, like if you're going to be doing something you love and being profitable from it, then yes, absolutely. Amen. Great. But is that going to happen right away? Probably not, So learning and educating yourself and just sticking to it, like Yoakum says, keep chopping wood is necessary. It's necessary to get there.
Absolutely, dude. Freaking love that. This has just been a absolute charged conversation. You're a freaking beast, dude. I was so stoked to talk to you. But we'll finish with one final question. Very present moment question. What did you learn today from the time you woke up to when we're having this conversation now?
Oh, what have I learned? I've learned a lot.
Nice.
I've learned a lot from this conversation, honestly. I think I'm enlightened. Walking out of this studio, I'm enlightened. But if I were to pick one, I'll go back to the studio thing. Like I can't get over this thing. Like I've learned that if you want to be serious about a podcast, if you want to be serious in recording music or anything, you have to dedicate a space that is going to serve as this is going to be my recording space. And just last night, I had my brother over for a podcast, and I had a roommate come in the room, and he's with his girlfriend, and they're clinking glasses in the kitchen, sitting in the living room, and having their own little podcast
soiree.
They're literally having a soiree in the living room, and it's like wow, like I realize this is your space too, but like recording in progress. But I guess the only way to eliminate that issue is to dedicate a space where you're gonna do your podcast, where you're gonna do your record your music or record anything that is sound sensitive. You got to dedicate a certain space. Have a studio per se to accomplish what you need to do without distractions. And so I think that's the number one thing on my mind right now. Like next spot, moving in June.
Are you going to be in Uptown still? Or?
No, I'm not going to be in Uptown. I'm not even in Uptown right now. I'm in Northeast right now.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But we'll be actually more west in the burbs, Golden Valley, in the house with some high school or Wayzata folks, childhood friends. But definitely going to in that house have to dedicate a spot where it's like, hey, people, this is the radio episode of room. This is the podcast room or space. When recording is in progress, tread lightly.
Tread lightly.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
People know. We actually get in our roommate's way because Matt Heron, his room's right below us. So
And Jack Burke lives across
lives
the hall.
right there.
So when we're recording, like if we would have thought this out better, Declan or I would live below, and Declan and I would live across.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we live in the corners where it's super quiet. If someone was up here,
I like it.
yeah,
I like it. I think it's cool that you guys spend a lot of time in here. I bet you guys look forward to spending time in here as well.
We do.
Yeah, really
we do.
Good vibes room.
Well, it used to be not really well designed. Like when we first moved in here, we just had like a wooden table we bought on Facebook Marketplace and some wooden chairs, and we mounted these mics right to the table. And then after season 2 ended, we scrapped everything, like literally got everything out of this room, and then bought these floral chairs from Andrea Toppin, the marketing intern.
Like him.
And then we went down the street to an antique store and bought that. And then we bought the white light on Amazon. We got a Chromecast and a TV up here. We got the GoPro. This camera that we bought. We got this table, that table. We just redid everything because we were like, we want to make a comfortable environment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
And then we had these mounts. We built these mounts too.
Oh yeah, engineers.
This guy.
Yeah.
What Dadley's deck is.
Yeah.
I remember the Grand and Finn house.
Yeah.
You guys even in that house, you guys had like a little space for
the sunroom.
Yeah, the sunroom, right? Where you had Julie Sullivan and you had.
We brought Julie there. That was
that was shell shocking for her.
Yeah.
For her.
I mean,
there were a lot of greats in there though.
Yeah.
John Abraham.
Yeah.
This map was in there, right?
Oh yeah. We stole some things from in there.
Yeah.
But Jess, thank you so much. It's been an honor to have you on.
Thank you guys, man. It's been a fun morning. What a day to have a podcast, man. Like, you guys are doing it live with 3 different guests today.
Joey Puck after you.
Joey Puck.
Yeah.
I got to see that dude before I leave.
All right, absolutely,
Joey.
bro.
But like, yeah, thank you guys for having me. Like, it's been a pleasure. It's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to get on the Back Pocket for so long. Like, God, I have to go chop it up with Andrew and Deck on the Back Pocket sometime. So it's great to finally be here and on the mic. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, boys.
Well, I've been hanging on the west coast of my heart, right where I'm meant to from the start. It's so much warmer than the secrets you've been holding in. And don't you look at me sideways with those eyes.